Alright folks, welcome to this exciting video where you once again join me in the wild landscape of Scotland. And in today's video I've come to document this cool little bit of history over here. This little Scottish button ben. It's like a little Croft house and it's abandoned out here in this wild lands here of the Cairn O Mount, which is right in the heart of the Cairn National Park here in Scotland. It's just truly a paradise scene out here. For this adventure I'm just wearing the trainers, so I'm not sure if I'll regret that or not yet folks, but let's see. I'm just blown away by the colours at this time of year. It just adds to the character of the land to see little bits of abandoned history like this house. It's just so cool. It's amazing to imagine a house like this when it was in its prime, when it was freshly built. And I believe this was actually a little croft here, so you could probably imagine a couple of sheep and some cows and stuff kicking about, maybe some chickens running about here clucking. And then it's cool to have the noise of the wee stream there trickling its way past, carving its way through this incredible natural world. The character of the houses up here at the Cairn O Mount as well are different to the ones we often see in the Angus area. These ones here are built with the granite that you find in the bedrock around here, and this seems to be like a red granite, because you do often get different colours. You can get like a red granite or like the typical grey granite like what you see in places like Aberdeen. Yeah, this is crazy. Look at this house folks, the little chimney on the end wall. You can tell it's becoming winter almost by how dead all the ferns and the grass is becoming. Places like this are far more accessible. A few months ago this was just an overgrown jungle here, like a wilderness. Check this out, look, the wee back window of the house. Yeah, maybe because this is in line with the front door, there was maybe like a little lobby there. Sometimes houses like this would have just had 3 rooms, maybe like a kitchen, sitting room and the bedroom, and then often the toilet was just outside in a separate little shed. Or sometimes at a farm it was just at the cow shed. But I would think with a place like this it was likely to be near the river. See, there's been a lot of stone construction at this side as well, and I believe that must have been like a farm shed or an area where they could keep animals and look after animals. Yeah, this is insane folks. Let's head on round into this incredible historical wonder. Whoa, it's still a wee bit overgrown here like, but I'm sure we'll be able to get in potentially this way here. Yeah, I think this is a super common like camping spot for people who are in this area of Scotland. God, it's just such a beautiful paradise landscape. Look at the way these walls are constructed with the natural stone. Like big and small stones all put together. And look at this, that's maybe where there would have been a wooden lath connected on at a certain time. Little bits of wood within the cement, all burnt. I think people have some like mad fires in here when they're having camping trips. Look at the old chimney right there. Most likely that'll be the reason that the wall's still standing, because the chimney gives it strength. Look, the chimney lintel's actually got a big crack. And sometimes buildings like this, every year they deteriorate more and more. It's cool to document them how they stand at a certain time. Look at that, the old wooden lintel's still in there. And then this must have been like a wee corner cupboard. Sometimes with a little house like this, they would have just spent most of their time in the kitchen area, and they would have cooked all their food over the kitchen range or the stove before the days of like the cookers and stuff getting invented. Everything was cooked over the open fire. And I think that could have been at this end of the house. this was likely to be like the business end. Look, there's been a far more substantial mantelpiece and stuff like that at this end here. Yeah, look, here we go, folks. Look at that history right there. That's where, see that metal piece on the wall? That's where at an ancient time there was like a metal bar, then you hung all your pots and stuff on it. We recently saw it on a video at the Afford Heritage Museum. There was a proper fire set up like that to get an idea of how it would have been back in the day. And it's cool to see the way the chimney breast is like stepped out like this away from the wall. It's almost like you can see it's been built separate and then the house has been kind of built around it. Whereas it seems to be different at that end. That is actually an interesting detail. Yeah, this is insane, folks. I love finding the wee details of history like that. Metal piece on the fire. You can just imagine, for sure, somebody would have been just sitting there pulling the pot out, making themselves a drink or whatever they were doing, getting the stovies out of the pot at tea time, laying them on a table here, and you have to imagine the farmer coming in off this wild land. Yeah, this is insane, folks. The weather's been so extreme. These little burns have actually been bursting their banks, I can see that. Even Aberdeenshire and that's been affected as well with this wild weather that we've had. And just think, this would have been the front door of the house, the view you would have gotten when you came out in the morning with your cuppy. Looking out over these hills. Check out the amazing doorstep right there, folks. The colours of that granite right there, it's just amazing to see. And then look at that, there's like a little channel cut out in the middle there. That must have been to allow the water to run away from the front door. And here's the detail of where the front door wooden frame would have been in here. Sometimes these houses most commonly had two little like half doors in that position there. Anyway, let's head on and see what remains over here. Yeah, there's only a couple of little bits. It's easy to walk on this hill. So check this out here, folks. This has been most likely a proper little house or another building similar, because you can see the difference in the stone construction here compared to the walls in front of me. Look at this, the way it's built with these stones. I believe this could have been the first little farm croft house in this area before even this house here was built. And it's interesting because you can see the outlines of the Drystine dikes. It's amazing to see the style and technique here that was used to build these dikes. It's a testament to the strength of the construction, like the amount of hundreds of years that stood there, getting battered by every wild storm. At one time, obviously, it was for the use of keeping the sheep or whatever under control and in this piece of land, but look, it's been so well constructed. It's crazy how nature just takes back over at a spot like this. Yeah, this is quite easy to walk around this section. We'll do a full 360 walk around this area. Check it out, folks. This is one way you can tell that this would have been used for animals or sheep. And it's the way that the corners are actually curved like that. It's so that the sheep couldn't go and stand in the corner and obviously avoid getting caught. And that's cool to see that detail here. You can imagine the boy in here sorting out his sheep or rounding them up. Maybe letting them back out onto the wild hill at the end of a season. The end of a winter season. Probably in a couple of months here. This will be under some snow. This land here on the Cairn, it's so wild. Normally in the winter you get a decent bit of snow in this area, and that's why the road up here has got snow poles up the side of it. It's quite a notorious bit of road up here. But another thing, if the snow gets too bad, there's big gates that they shut, and that prevents you from actually getting over the Cairn O Mount, like. Because there's a lot of folk often, if they didn't have the gates, the people would get stuck like up on top of the hill here. And the weather's so wild that they may actually perish. Wow, this is so spongy underfoot, folks, but I had to come down here and document this. Look at the detail of that wall right there. It's an absolute mad piece of history right here. Hundreds of years old. Just think how long ago the person put those two little stones in there. And like these little stones here, they would almost go like unnoticed in the construction, but they're all crucial key little parts of this wall here. And it's quite an impressive wall because it's literally like my head height almost. Yeah, it's special, folks. It always blows me away, the variation of history that you can explore in Scotland in such a close proximity. There's just all sorts of things from ancient history like this, way back, farms like this or crofts may have been here 1700s for sure, maybe even older. And it could even date back, a site like this could have been a farm since like the 1500s or earlier. But it's just so cool to imagine stuff like that when you walk around an old site like this. See a house like that. I mind when I was little and we used to drive past here on the road, I always liked this house. And it's so cool to come back and like explore it nowadays. I think it's been like a few years since I've even been in this neck of the woods recording these little places, and it's amazing how quick things can change in these wild lands. We've just been lucky with the weather today for this adventure. We've actually got some blue sky, and for like the first weekend in probably months, it's not actually windy. We're getting a little bit of peace and quiet after such a mad storm. Just check that out, folks. It's history hidden in paradise right here. It's amazing that nobody's ever bought this and renovated it, but I believe it must be just to do with the fact that there doesn't appear to be any electricity coming into this site here, and there doesn't appear to be any like water or sanitation, so that would be a big problem and probably a lot of money to bring that to this site. And that's often the reason these places are abandoned at a certain stage. And it's just sad to think one day it was just left and forgotten. For that day to this, it's just degraded and decayed more and more each day. Little videos like this often just keep the story of the history alive for the world to see. At one time it would have only been locals that saw a place like this, but thanks to YouTube we can share this history, and it's just so cool. Anyway, I'm going through this super wet grass. Look at that right here. You see the water just clinging on all the grass leaves. So check it out, folks. This is one of my favourite roads around here for driving. Look at the way it sweeps around and goes over this incredible land. It is quite narrow in places. And a few weeks ago when I was up that direction recording a World War II pillbox, literally when I was at the top of the hill there was a car like right on its side. Somebody had misjudged the corner and proper like rolled their car. It was just a madness. Look at that, that must be maybe potentially an original road leading in that way, but I'm not exactly sure. So I'm keeping a fast pace here, folks, because literally this road here is super busy. If I get a chance to actually cross the bridge, I need to go for it before another car comes. There's a lot of water running around here which is coming off the hills. That's what you get when the weather's like this in Scotland. There's so much water coming down off the hills. Often on the roads you come around the corner and there's some massive puddles. Look at this here. This is actually the benchmark here on the Ordnance Survey map, folks. It should be marked like BM on the Ordnance Survey mark to that point on the bridge. And this is just like some wild kind of moorland there along the side of the little burn. Anyway, folks, I'm going to end this one here. That's another little Scottish cottage documented out in this wild lands of the Cairn O Mount. And we're right in the heart of the Cairngorms National Park here. But anyway, I'm ending this one here. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you soon, folks.